Hi, I'm AnubisRex.
I'm Pixie Cookies.
And we decided we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to start doing videos about other things. Cosplay, games, movies, whatever. And this is the first one, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and if we say anything that could be considered offensive slightly, we don't mean it like that. We're just talking. Mm-hmm. We're just sharing opinions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, in our society now, you can't really have an opinion, so whatever. But I'm going to have mine anyway, so I may need to bleep out some profanity or whatever, because, you know, I'm just going to let my opinion fly. So if you're offended by things easily, probably just want to turn off the video now.
So what we're talking about today is Alita Battle Angel, the new movie that came out. We went to see it last night, and we want to kind of give it a review and talk about what happened in it. So what did you like about it?
Yeah, I want to talk about the movie, but I also want to talk about things that are being said about the movie. As an anime fan, you know, I grew up watching anime all through my teen years and college and everything, and a lot of people are talking about the film that are not anime fans, and some have never even seen the anime or the manga that the film was based on. So it's kind of hard for them to have an opinion about it that's based in the history of it.
I mean, I think when somebody makes a film, it's kind of for anyone that would go see it, but
I have to disagree.
The fans are the prominent.
No, I have to disagree. Well, all right, we take Ghost in the Shell. They tried to make Ghost in the Shell a film for everybody, and that's why it failed.
Nobody went to see it.
If they had made that a film for the fans, it would have done great with the fans. But I mean, not every film is for everybody. You know.
What do you feel wasn't for the fans about Ghost in the Shell?
Well, Ghost in the Shell, first of all, you have to be in a different headspace. Ghost in the Shell was really a film that was created in a Japanese mindset. And the Western mind is completely different than the Japanese mind. I mean, that's just obvious.
I could totally see that.
You know.
So, back on track. About Alita Battle Angel, we're talking, and there's a difference of opinion between critics right now and film goers and audience members and Battle Angel Alita fans. So it's been a really long time since I saw the original anime, so I really didn't have a recollection of what I was going to expect going into it. And I thought they did absolutely amazing with this film, with the CG and the realistic features and emotions and everything that she exhibited. I was floored.
Well, I mean, as a fan, I've watched the anime at least 10 times, if not more. So, I mean, there were points where I was picking out actual lines of dialogue that were from the anime, and I'm like, wow, that's exactly, you know, what was going on there. And some people have slammed the movie for that. They said, oh, well, you know, the screenplay was kind of lame and the dialogue. And I said, well, you know, it's based off the actual anime. They stayed as true to it as possible. And I think part of what was going on there is James Cameron wanted to pay homage to the original work, which is why he got the rights for it back in the 1990s, because he was so much into it that he wanted to make sure that he had the rights to it, so that at some point he could do a film. And I think that's what was done here. He really paid homage to it, and I mean, without alienating your fan base, I think that's the way you have to go. If you're going to do a film that's based on a well-known anime among anime fans, then you have to stay true to that. If you start going off the script, then you get Ghost in the Shell, and we saw what happened there.
So, what did you like about Battle Angel Alita?
The main thing I liked about it was the relative purity of, you know, just taking what was there and making a live-action version of it, and really fleshing it out as much as possible as far as depicting it, you know, true to life.
So from my perspective, what I really liked about it was I just liked the fact that I didn't feel like it was just a CG character because of the way it was done. I liked the story to a certain extent. I just, you know, it's a story.
It's not a complicated story. I mean, you know.
So, yeah. But it's also an older anime, so it's like, you know, maybe you've seen similar stories before, but I don't think you really critique the plot of this movie. I think this movie is more about merging the animation world
Well, I mean,
and
the reality
CG
is
world.
90% of anime is not about giving you this super deep story that's going to like boggle your mind.
Right.
It's more about developing characters and creating a spectacle, that you can look at and go, wow, that really is really cool. And that's what the film does. I mean, it is pretty much start to finish eye candy. And, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You do get to see, some character development. You do feel for these characters. Unlike a lot of action-based films that are coming out right now where, hour and a half, 2 hours goes by and the credits roll and you're like, okay, things happen and I don't really care. But midway through this film, you're rooting for her. You want her to succeed and you want her to figure things out and
you feel like you can
who she
identify with her a little bit.
Yeah.
Like there's a little of her in all of us.
Well, I got to bring up the elephant in the room. There are critics who are saying that the character was over-sexualized and creepy.
Okay, so let's just take a look really quickly at the New York Times review. New York Times review by, and I'm probably not going to pronounce his name right because, I don't know. It's Manola Dargis. February 12th. At one point in Alita Battle Angel, another dystopian fantasy that reminds you of just how visionary the original Blade Runner was.
Whatever. Go on.
At one point in Alita Battle Angel, another dystopian fantasy that reminds you of just how visionary the original Blade Runner was, the cyborg heroine gets a new body. It's a streamlined shoulder-to-foot job, one that makes her look like a sex doll with a chrome-plated musculoskeletal system.
See, now that sounds like a personal problem to me.
So, here's the thing. She does not look anything like a sex doll. She doesn't look sexy. She looks like an anatomical female girl. Like, nothing is over-accentuated in her figure. No crazy wide hips. No crazy big boobs. No, big booty. It's like...
Yeah, they weren't, like, going crazy
like
with animations of breast physics or anything like
female, like, body. And so, it's really kind of upsetting to me that women are disappointed with this depiction of a female body in an android form because it's so
well, I mean, there's this mentality now among certain groups of people wherein a female heroine has to have, a baggy jumpsuit on and look as androgynous as possible, hopefully with short hair, and just, walk around like a stick figure.
Well, her hair wasn't particularly long. And
no, but, I'm talking about a buzz cut,
And I felt like she looked kind of plain, except for, obviously the big eyes, kind of made you sit up and take notice of her face a little bit. But
that was to pay homage to the original anime. And also to let you know right off the bat, she's not completely human. There's something going on here, because normal humans don't have eyes that big.
So, just going back to this article for a second, her new physique turns out to be an innovative weapon and comes with articulated parts, a wasp waist, and what looks like a discreet chastity panel for the groin. I do not know.
Chastity See, this person obviously this person obviously has some personal issues.
I mean,
with their sexual identity and whatever is going on. Chastity panel?
I don't know what they mean by chastity panel. She had a
chastity panel. It was more like a Barbie doll than anything.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
like
just a smooth spot.
Smooth
I mean,
crotch. It wasn't
chastity panel.
And there was no point where that was ever a focal point in the movie. And most of the time, there was clothing over top of her android body. So it wasn't like she was just, like, naked android running throughout the whole movie.
Well, not only that, they made a point to desexualize her by continually showing her in states where her endoskeleton was exposed and her chest was open, and you could see her inner workings almost like a clockwork, which there was nothing sexy about that. So this reviewer, I don't know what kind of damage she has going on up here, but yeah.
So it says here, it also has this new body that she got, the body. Also has larger breasts than the old model. A change that in a snort out loud line is pinned on Alita's own ideas about how she should look. Number one, okay? The old body did have kind of a chest plate, and it did poke out a
Well,
little
not
bit.
only that,
But it wasn't a super
it was his daughter.
articulated-
Okay, it was a body
was
for his daughter who was what, 12 or something?
Yeah, so...
You know?
I don't remember how old she was supposed to be. I
Look,
think it
she was
a
young.
teenager.
But the thing is, in the flashbacks, and these are spoilers here, so you haven't seen the film yet.
Spoiler alert.
You probably want to just run away now. Just turn it off. You know, when she was having the flashbacks and she was battling on the moon and they showed the body she had then, it wasn't flat-chested.
No.
Okay, she had the identity of a developed woman, you know.
What person is going to envision themselves, if you have a female...
No, forget if you have a female. If you are a manufacturer of bodies, are you going to make a product that is attractive or that is not attractive? Because you try to sell a
It's not even about attraction. It's about, like, if you're a female and you're envisioning
I'm just
what
talking
your
about
body
aesthetics.
Is. No, I'm not talking about the manufacturer. I'm talking about a female envisioning her body. She's never going to envision a flat chest because it's, I mean, unless she's 8 years old maybe, or nowadays 5. But
yeah.
But she's never going to, if she is going to be shaping her own body, she's going to shape it to how she perceives a female body looks.
Well, not only
and
that,
the idea that would be flat-chested.
There's a double standard here, too. There's a double standard here. Okay? When you see these people watching these Hollywood premieres and stuff, and they're watching people on the red carpet, are they talking about the person who came in a burlap sack? Or are they talking about the person that was in a dress that was hugging their body, that accentuated every asset they had, and they looked good in?
The most popular Grammys dress ever, J-Lo, and
what dress?
It was like just slivers of fabric.
A shower curtain, you could see right through it. Yeah, I mean,
just barely covered her nipples.
But nobody has a problem with that.
Crotch.
No one is screaming, "Oh my God, these people on the red carpet, they need to stop. They're over-sexualizing themselves, and they're giving
not paying attention to that.
They're giving kids the wrong idea." No.
But I mean, I did notice that line where he was like, "Oh, it seems like she's designing the body herself, or like it's taking on her own perception,
right,
or whatever." But at the same time, I was like, well, I'm glad they explained that in that way.
Well, in VR games where you get to pick an avatar, do people pick the doughy potato sack body? No! You know, so these people have an agenda, and I mean, the problem I'm having is entertainment is for entertainment's sake. If you have a political agenda or a social agenda, I don't think entertainment is the place to address that. I mean, get on your soapbox, do your thing, whatever, but
okay,
I mean,
so wait.
Fantasy's fantasy.
Let's go back to the article now. So, if only someone here were joking or had an idea about the construction of femininity. What does this person, Manola, what do you think is feminine? This was not overly feminine. So
well, she should have been like a cylinder with arms and legs, and that would have been fine.
Why does Alita, who has a human brain, even have breasts? Because they explained it to you. She self-designed the suit from her own.
The reality is that they weren't breasts. Okay, they weren't jiggly. They weren't mammary glands. It was just a bump on a facade.
Why does any cyborg that isn't a sex bot or a wet nurse have breasts? So
see, she's got a problem.
Here's the thing. This cyborg had a human brain that had some type of female consciousness to it.
It had a female identity.
And so, and a lot of these beings in this movie, they were humans, and then, you know, whatever happened to them. They lost an arm or something, and they got
or they
a mechanical
opted to have
arm.
it taken off.
Or, you know, they had a new spine put in, or whatever. So there were a lot of cyborgs that were human cyborgs. So
people will find a problem when they want to.
But here's the thing. I think maybe people just don't realize that this is a girl who became a cyborg.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're expecting that they actually paid. You're expecting that they actually paid attention and followed, what was going on.
Clearly, she had been in combat and trained and stuff. Why does a cyborg need training?
Yeah,
they don't.
You would just program it and send it out.
It would just be the Matrix, and then you're done. So these reviewers do not understand the background of the story.
And that is the huge problem there. That these people are talking about things that they are not familiar with, from what they consider to be face value, and they have an agenda. It's all about sensationalizing things and editorializing things, and they don't really care about who would like this or whatever. I mean, we're talking about people who don't watch anime, who don't play video games, and they're watching your average sitcoms and things that I wouldn't care to even look at, but they want to judge something that has its own fan base and try to tear it down because they don't like it. I mean, if something's not your cup of tea, don't drink it. Move on. Leave that for the people that like tea. So, I don't know.
I like tea.
Yeah, well, of course you do. I really liked the movie. I enjoyed the movie. I'm probably going to go see it again with a couple of friends of mine. I don't know what your thoughts are. You can leave, comments in the comments below or whatever. I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to say? Or
I want to talk about a couple of things I didn't like about this movie.
Go ahead.
Okay. Alita goes on a chase scene. She's,
Oh, boy.
She's
suspension of disbelief.
She has these rollerblades on that the doctor pushed up onto her. They took her feet off and pushed the rollerblades up onto her. Okay, and she's rolling through the battle dome. And forgive my terminology, it's not right. I don't care. So, and then she gets out and she's rolling through the city, and then she beats everybody, gets to her stopping point, and then she suddenly has shoes on, or feet.
I didn't see it that way.
I felt like, where did that change happen? They didn't show me that change, and I felt like...
I didn't feel like they were feet, though.
And they didn't show me a way that could transform. They didn't show me how those rollerblades transformed into some kind of stepping.
I'm telling you, it wasn't feet.
Place.
It just had a part.
Steps.
Yeah, she did. I take steps and skates all the time, but I think what happened is it's just... There was a square part that came out of the middle that just made them more stable. That's all. And she was walking around on skates.
That's what he thinks. I think that they didn't explain that properly in the movie.
You think
or
that
just
it was
give
just
me a
a continuity
transition.
issue?
Yeah, I think they needed to transition that and show you how she changed out into a way that she could step. So
I'll bet you most people weren't thinking about that, though.
Leave comments below if you think they should have changed the shapes. But...
yeah, wait. Right in the middle of this action scene where all kinds of hell's breaking loose, and she's like, "Oh, gotta change my shoes."
All she had to do was press a button in her head, and then the shoes come out and cover up the skates. It just makes total sense.
I don't think it was as important to anybody else but you.
I was literally sitting there thinking, okay, now she's rolling all through the city, and what's gonna happen? She's gonna be stuck on these skates. What if she needs to do something
go up
with
some
her
stairs
feet or whatever?
On, man. No, it wasn't that big of an issue.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's not my personal issue though. It's it's something they didn't show me. What else didn't they show me?
They didn't show you a lot of
about?
stuff, but
I felt like other people have complained about how you didn't ever see not Nova. You didn't ever see what's the place called? Zalem.
Yeah,
you never saw Zalem.
We weren't supposed to see Zalem. That's the whole point. As the viewer, you were supposed to be in line with the characters that you were seeing, and to show us Zalem would be like giving us a free ticket. You don't get a free ticket. It's like Zalem's like unobtainium. Nobody gets to see it, and that was the whole point. You got to see a glimpse of the edge of it, but you're never going to be up there in the streets because you're not worthy. That was part of the viewpoint, and I feel like that was an attempt on the filmmaker's part to let you experience what it's like to want to know what it's like up there, but not get to.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel like I needed to see up there because the whole story was mainly about that's denied.
Well, I mean, the other thing too is that this movie covers kind of part 1 and 2 of the manga. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens afterwards. There's even more changes with her character. My whole thing with the social justice warriors out there, and they're they want to ride in on their white horse and say, oh, I have a problem with this and I have a problem with that. The thing is that, anime is not about race or culture. It's about telling a story. And, I mean, I've been watching anime since there was anime. And the Japanese don't really focus on, wow, does this character look Japanese, or do they look Asian, or do they look white? They make the character look however they want them to look, and that's that. You get people screaming, oh, they're whitewashing this movie. I'm like, if you look at the character, Alita, she doesn't look Asian in the manga or the anime. No, it's not about, they should have had an Asian lead in this role. And I'm like, okay, so they should have made an Asian CGI character, and not only that, the actress that the motion performance was captured from, if I'm not mistaken, she's not
She was Latina.
Caucasian. No.
Rosa Salazar.
So why they have a problem with that?
Great job that she did. Great job.
Yeah. So it's ridiculous, and I think once again, people are trying to find problems with things that don't have a problem simply so that they can stoke the fire, so they can get a reaction.
I mean, I think the whole idea of social justice is, number one, it's a little bit of a farce. And I feel like the way to social justice is just to, like, love one another and be accepting of one another. It's not to tear everything down that you've ever seen ever, you know.
The people that generally get labeled as social justice warriors, justice is the last thing on their mind. They want to feel vindicated in whatever crusade they're on.
Everybody else is calling them SJWs, but I think I'm going to call them SVWs, because it's social vengeance warriors. What they want is vengeance. They want revenge for some way that they feel wronged or something. I don't know. I don't understand it. But I feel like as an artist, you know, when we create as artists, we create what we want to create. It's our artistic vision, and nobody can tell me what my vision should be.
You know, your vision is wrong, and you should change
if it offends somebody, sorry, don't watch it. Don't come to my shows or whatever, but just have your opinion, and that's fine. But don't try to, like, tell everybody it's this way, because it's for every person to decide for themselves. Your view isn't the way it is.
Art is subjective, and at the point where you demand that it no longer be subjective, people don't have a right to their own opinion about how they feel about what they see. You want to dictate that? I think we're going to have some big problems then. All right, so let's wrap it up.
We're not going to fix the world in
rambling on for a while. Anyway, let's back to the point. Great movie. If you haven't seen it yet, go out, check it out, because I think it's really important to send the right message that, yes, we did like this film and people should see it, and more things like this should be created.
Yeah.
So this is AnubisRex signing off, and
Pixie Cookies. See you later.